हमारा जो हो चुकी 2 क्लास मिस किए हैं तो कोई दूसरे दिन भी कर सकते हैं। It's okay. The students are entering late, but let's start. Okay. As for them,
sir, that student is not added to Teams.
Just a minute. हाँ मैडम, हाँ आप तो निकलिएगा वहां 2 बजे से है ना, तो 1 बजे निकलिए ना यहाँ से। The executive power of the union shall be vested in president and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the constitution. So let us see how the president is elected. So the election process. So the president shall be elected by the members of an electoral college. And this electoral college consists of the elected member of both houses of parliament, number 1. Okay. So as you know, 12 members in the Rajya Sabha are nominated. So you might remember that Sachin Tendulkar and so many other, these people have been nominated. So the nominated members don't have the power to cast the vote in the election conducted for the president. So the elected members only of both houses of parliament, and the second one, the elected member of legislative assemblies of the state. Okay. So even in the state also, there is a provision of nomination of some members. So the nominated member cannot cast the vote in the presidential election. So always remember, elected member of both houses of parliament and elected member of the legislative assemblies of the states. Now, the manner of election of president. So it says, as far as practicable, there shall be uniformity in the scale of representation of the different states at the election of the president. So, just for this uniformity, just the number of members of the legislative assembly differs from state to state. So there is a criteria for the valuation of the vote for each state. So here it says, for the purpose of securing such uniformity among the states, inter se as well as parity between the states as a whole and the union. So here the number of votes which each elected member of parliament and the legislative assembly of each state is entitled to cast as such elections shall be determined in the following manner. So what is the manner you see? Every elected member of legislative assembly of a state shall have as many votes as there are multiples of 1,000 in the quotient obtained by dividing the population of the state. Okay. So if after taking the said multiples of the 1,000, the remainder is not less than 500, then the vote of each member referred in the clause A shall be further increased by 1. And again, each elected member of the either house of the parliament shall have such number of votes as may be obtained by dividing the total number of votes assigned to the members of the legislative assemblies of the state under different clauses like sub-clause A and B by the total number of the elected members of both houses of parliament. So it again says the election of the president shall be held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote and voting. As such, election shall by secret ballot. So you don't have to go in details how to calculate, but this is the way. There must be any uniformity of the valuation of the vote of each state. So both houses of the parliament, all legislative assemblies, and only the elected members can cast the vote. So the term after election, the president shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office. So once he enters upon his office, so you see, because he is the president, topmost executive of the union, so it is not said that he assumes the charge and take over the charge. This type of sentence words are not used for him. Here, the president shall hold office for a term of 5 years. And when? So, on the date on which he enters upon his office. Provided that the president may, by writing under his hand addressed to the vice president, resign his office. Or the president may, for violation of the constitution, be removed from office by impeachment in the manner provided in the Article 61. And C, President shall notwithstanding the expiration of his term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. And the second one is any resignation addressed to the vice president shall forthwith be communicated by him to the Speaker of the House of the People. So the term is for 5 years, and in case he want to leave his office, resign his office, he will intimate, will address handwritten letter to Vice President that I am resigning. Then he can be removed, or suppose for any violation of the Constitution, he can be removed by the office by impeachment. So this impeachment is in the Parliament, and 2/3 majority of the Parliament can remove by the impeachment. The President shall, on expiration of this term, continue to hold his office until successor enters. Once again, if his successor has not been elected, so there is a case, if any of you from the Jharkhand state, like just like President, the term of the office of the governor is also for 5 years. And again, it is said when he enters, then he start calculating from that day, that date, next 5 years. But till how many days? If, like I said, the President shall, notwithstanding the expiration of his term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. So, Draupadi Murmu, Draupadi Murmu was our governor of Jharkhand. So, anyone from Jharkhand state? Anyone from you who belongs to Jharkhand state? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Who is from Jharkhand? Siddhant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you may remember or recall, Draupadi Murmu. Her term was, 5-year term was just over 21 in the year 2020. But she continued to hold her office until her successor enters upon her office. So Ramesh Baise is now our governor. So he entered 1 year late. So the new governor was supposed to be joined in the year 2020. But he was nominated, appointed by the President of India in the year 2021. So Draupadi Murmu continued to office even after the expiry of her 5-year term as a governor. Say also the same case is with the President. So the President shall, notwithstanding the expiration of his term, can continue to hold office until the successor enters upon the President office. So this is about the term of the President, office of the President. Now, who can be elected as a President? So again, there are some conditions which has to be qualified by a person. So there are, like, number one, no person shall be eligible for election as president unless he is a citizen of India. He or she is citizen of India. So only the Indian citizens can be elected as a president. Number two, he must have completed the age of 35 years. Okay. So you can cast your vote when you complete 18 years of age. But if you want to contest the election of assembly or the parliament, your age must be 21 years. And to become a member of upper house, means Rajya Sabha, the age is 30. And for the presidency, the person must have completed the age of 35 years. So, citizen of India of 35 years. Third, he must have qualified for election as a member of House of the People. Okay. So, the conditions which are applied for the election of the House of the People, the same qualification is also in, other than the 35 years of age. All
This is the top result.
eligible criteria are like, these are for the election of member of the House of the People. And one more, a person shall not be eligible for election as president if he holds any office of profit under the government of India or the government of any state or any local or other authority subject to the control of any of the state government. So, at the time of election, the person should not hold any office of profit. Suppose any of the IAS, right? Suppose anyone is an IAS officer and he is holding the office like DM, secretary, chairman of any organization. So first he will have to resign from his office. Then only he can be eligible to contest the election of the president. Now, hello? Hello? Arey bhai. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, suddenly my screen was blank, so I thought disconnected or not. Okay. So the conditions of the office, president office. So the conditions are, the president shall not be a member of either house of the parliament or of a house of the legislature of any state, and if a member of either house of the parliament or the house of the legislative assembly or any state be elected president, he shall be deemed to have vacated his seat in the house on the date on which he enters upon the office of the president. Right? Then, the president shall not hold any office of the profit, and the president shall not be entitled without payment of rent to the use of his official residences and shall be also entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by the Parliament by law, and until the provisions in this behalf is so made, such emoluments, allowances, and privileges are specified in the second schedule. And then the emoluments and allowances of the President shall not be diminished during his term of office. So these are the different conditions. Now, oath. So every president and every person acting as president or discharging the functions of the president shall, before entering upon his office, make and subscribe in the presence of the Chief Justice of India. Okay, always remember that the Chief Justice, in the presence of the Chief Justice of India, or suppose Chief Justice of India is not present, then the senior most judge of the Supreme Court available, an oath or affirmation in the following form, that is to say, I, Ramnath Kovind, do swear in the name of God, solemnly affirm that I will faithfully exercise the office of the President of India and will to be the best of my ability, preserve, protect, defend the Constitution and law, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of India. So this kind of affirmation or the oath is to be taken by the President. So, President of India takes oath before the Chief Justice of India. And the Chief Justice of India, before entering to his office to the court, Supreme Court, takes oath before the President. And vice versa. So always remember. Procedure for impeachment of the President. So he can be removed by the impeachment, as I told. So when a president is to be impeached for violation of the Constitution, the charge shall be preferred by either house of the Parliament, and no such charge shall be preferred unless the proposal to prefer such charge is contained in the resolution which has been moved after at least 14 days notice. Okay, so 14 days notice is to be served in writing, signed by not less than 1/4 of the total number of members of the House has been given their intention to move the resolution. So 14 days notice is must to propose to prefer any charge. Second, such resolution has been passed by majority of not less than 2/3 of the total membership of the House. And both the houses of the Parliament. Here the House means the Parliament. So impeachment resolution must be passed by 2/3 majority of the total membership of the House. And when a charge has been so preferred by either house of the Parliament, the other house shall investigate the charge or cause the charge to be investigated and the President shall have the right to appear and to represent as such investigation. And then if a result As a result of the investigation, a resolution is passed by a majority not less than two-thirds of the total membership of the House. By which the charge was investigated or caused to be then investigated, declaring that the charge preferred against the president has been sustained. Such resolution shall have the effect of removing the president from his office from the date on which the resolution is so passed. So this is the method of impeachment for the removal of the president. And then time of holding election, fill vacancy in the office of the president and the term of office. So here it says an election to fill a vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of office of the president shall be completed before the expiration of the term. So you might remember that the term of the present President Ramnath Kovind is on 25th July of this year only. So the election process must be completed before that. So an election to fill a vacancy in the office of the president occurring by reason of his death, resignation or removal or otherwise shall be held as soon as possible after and in no case later than 6 months from the date of occurrence of the vacancy. So this is the process. Now about the salary. The salary of the Indian president is, you know, what is the salary? Siddhant?
Sir,
Hello, Siddhant.
Sir.
So what is the
sir,
salary?
5 lakhs
Yeah.
rupees per month.
Exactly. Salary of Indian president is rupees 5 lakh until 2017, and the president used to get 1,50,000 per month. In the budget 2018, it was increased 5 lakh per month. Okay. In addition to the salary, the president receives many other allowances and free facilities, which includes free medical, free housing, and treatment facilities whole life. Okay. The government of India also spends around 2 crores 25 lakhs rupees annually on the expenses like president's housing, staff, food, and hosting of guests. Indian president salary when compared to the US president, it is the US president is getting $4 lakhs, whereas Indian president is getting $7,000 multiplied by 12 means $84,000. So you can see, one side, annual income of the president of US is 4 lakhs US, whereas Indian president is getting only $84,000. So the president of the United States of America is also indirectly elected by the people through the electoral college, but to a 4-year term. Here, Indian president is holding the office for 5-year term. Under the presidential and Vice presidential elections 1952. A candidate to be nominated by the office of the president needs 50. So, okay, these are not very important for you. So, but there are total number of 776 voters in both the houses of parliament, and the electoral college also consists of 4,120 MLAs in the states. And each MP had a vote value of 708 in the presidential elections. So, okay, MLAs are involved in the presidential election, but they have no role in the president's impeachment. President's impeachment regulation requires a special majority of both houses. When we talk about the powers of the president, so the president enjoys legislative powers. Just a minute, let me complete your attendance. Download attendance list. Downloading. Okay. So, legislative power, executive power, judicial power, financial power, diplomatic power, military power, pardoning power. So, he can pardon if any person has been sentenced to death. है ना, फांसी भी लटका दिया जाए, फांसी के आधे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश को भी ये माफ कर सकते हैं. An emergency power, right? So, okay. And Harshvardhan, just after this class, I will try to add him. Okay. So you said 22, na? For your quiz. Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan. Okay. I will inform you through the chat.